Hello. All right, so we are back here with Farmer Nikki's Winter Gardening Club, or class, whatever I'm calling it. I'm here on the floor because it's easier. Because today we're going to be repotting my olive tree here with the help of my lovely assistant Chucky. So we're going to be repotting this and whatnot, whilst I talk about some other things that I know definitely have to do with gardening. There's a metaphor in there somewhere, and I'm gonna find it hopefully by the end of this episode. All right, so I got this new pot just the other day from Target, and it's nice and green, and it's a different shape and size than some of my other ones, so this will fit very nicely where I have the plant. And we've got my potting mix. I kind of really want, I've been feeling in good spirits for the last few days, thankfully. I started a new job at the New York Botanical Garden. So I've been doing that for the last few days and whatnot. I'm still kind of in training and whatnot. But it's great. It's great because, we all know that I love plants, and it's just a regular job. I'm an attendant, so I just do tickets and, be in the parking booth or something, or in the conservatory, which is where I had my first day. So I'm glad I got that. That's been a win for me in the sea of, well, basically nothingness out there in the job market. And me starting at the New York Botanical Garden has also happens to coincide with the start of the orchid show, the annual orchid show there. And that's really cool. It's a really phenomenal orchid show this year. I've never actually been to one before at the New York Botanical Garden. So this one is, the exhibiting artist is this guy called Mr. Flower Fantastic. He's a floral artist. He's from Queens. The show is inspired by, of course, his life here in New York. And the show is a love letter to New York. What I like about him is that, I think his roots, it says that his roots are in street art before he got into floral artistry. And the cool thing is that he kind of has like a Banksy thing going on. He wears a mask. Oh my God, this is so messy. Oof. He wears a mask, when he's doing, his shows and stuff and in his promotional photos and whatnot. But so he has this, level of that anonymity, associated with his artwork. But the funny thing is that actually the mask he uses, and it's a gas mask that he uses, and he uses that because he actually is severely allergic to flowers. So he's doing this. He's making these amazing works of art with flowers and everything, and is just pushing through it. With his gas mask and everything. So it's really, really cool. I honestly kind of had a little bit of a pinch me moment when I was working in the conservatory, because it was just this is just so nice. And we got to I had to do a walkthrough, the morning before the show, or before the doors opened for the public and whatnot. And, to get familiarized with what's going on in there and whatnot. And it was just really, really cool to kind of have that sort of behind the scenes look at everything and and be there before, when nobody was there. So I got a lot of great shots, and everything. So it's just nice. And there's a lot of cool different things I'm finding out about the Botanical Garden. I had only ever been there just one time for the New York Holiday Train Show, which is super awesome. And I highly recommend that. But yeah, so in any case, so that's a good thing. I started working there because I was well, where would I want to work that I could where I would actually really have a good time, where I would really want to I would love going to work there every day. And I came up with the New York Botanical Garden, and so that's how I how I ended up there. So it's just the one job right now, though. It's part-time, 18 bucks an hour. I mean, like, I know, a very far cry from the salaries that I'm used to, even on the lower end when I was still in TV. So it's obviously not going to be enough. And I still need, more jobs, another job, and whatnot to just try to make ends meet here. But it's a win for me because I wasn't sure I was going to mention it, but I've been tracking my progress as to how I'm doing lately by way of, I have not cried I think in maybe 4, maybe 5 days. Because normally I cry every day. Yes, it's just how it is. Lots of things to cry about. But, I hadn't cried in a few days, and then it was not until I think it was maybe Thursday, which was my first day at the gardens. And, I called to tell my mom, that was my first day. She already knew that I was starting. But I called to tell her that, hey, I started my first day of work at the gardens, and and it was nice and everything, and it was after I hung up, and I think I was just like saying it to myself in the mirror, and yeah, I couldn't even really finish the sentence because it's just so emotional. It has been like a year and a half or something since I have been able to get out of here, Chucky. I'm trying to have a moment. But it's been like over a year since I've been able to say those words in any capacity. And that's rough. That's difficult. But yeah, that's where I've been. And I think I just wanted to come on here. I've been feeling guilty, and I'm done feeling guilty, but I wanted to express that. I've been feeling really guilty. I mean, I've been feeling guilty for over a year. I've been feeling guilty since I left and yada yada. But that I feel guilty about, it's February, right? It's February. Where's my site? Or my site's up, but where's my series? Where are the stories? Where are all the other stories for other people and whatnot and different things? And, what I have, has always been like this constant struggle in my mind as I've been going through this process and this time in my life and whatnot. But I've only just now come to the place where, I don't want to feel guilty anymore. I'm not going to feel guilty anymore because I know I'm doing everything. I'm looking at everything, looking for a job, working on my site, trying to get the, stories that I owe people, just keeping myself together, keeping my spirits up, right? Just trying not to fall apart, right? Which is also work. All of these things compartmentalized that I work on every day. But reality is, a bucket of cold water sometimes. It's not a deterrent. It's not necessarily like, it's kind of just an impediment. It just slows things down sometimes. I spent the best part of January, marching down, going physically to the places where I was applying for jobs and whatnot, and going physically to some of these places to follow up. It's like me doing the job market and the job hunt in reverse, right? Because everything is digital now, right? You apply online, you don't call, you don't email. That's been the thing for many, many years. But I got sick of that because I apply, I'm qualified, and all I get is an automatic rejection. So I said, no, I'm gonna march down there and I'm gonna go and see what's what, and I'm gonna try and go get me a job. And I didn't really make it much past the first person I spoke to, an HR person or something like that, who was pretty nice. with some of the jobs. This is actually how I got the job at the New York Botanical Garden, because I did call and I spoke to an HR lady and I explained to her, stuff, and hey, my applications, they just go nowhere. So I'm calling to make a concerted effort to say, hey, I'm interested in working here. I see you have these positions open and I would like one. And she appreciated that. So that's what I did. And now I have a job, a part-time job, but it's a job. And, but I got all these other different rejections, and things that I thought that, oh my God, I saw it pop up on LinkedIn or wherever. And I was like, okay, I could do that. I could definitely do that. I'm so qualified in this and that. And then automatic rejection. And that tanked me. It just tanked my self-esteem and my confidence and all of that stuff. I mean, not to the point where I'm like not doing anything, but it's just like I'm trying to fight through it. But it's hard. And meanwhile, like, again, I don't have like a safety net, I don't, this is like real life. And I have to I decided to stay. For those of you who don't know I haven't updated anything and whatnot, and everything's just all over the place. But for those of you who don't know, I did decide to stay in New York in December. I decided to stay because it didn't feel right just picking up like that and going back home to LA. I'm sure that will happen eventually, honestly, because I'm probably not going to be able to sustain this. Even if I do find a second or third or whatever job, I'm going to be working all the time. I'm going to get exhausted. I'm going to burn out again. So, but in any case, I decided to stay and to do what I could just to try to make it work. I did, by the way, get elected to my kayak club's board. So I'm now a board member of the Yonkers Paddling and Rowing Club. Thank you very much. And that was one of the reasons why I decided to stay, was because I just had like another really good reason to. I just, it's my community. It's again, it goes to the part of like, I've been in New York for like 8 solid years now. I've built a life here, and I just didn't feel right to me to just like pack up and leave that and just like abandon it because I did the right thing for myself. I did the hard thing, but I did the right thing for myself. Even though ever since I have felt like I've been punished or I'm paying for it or something like that. But that's just a mindset and a narrative that just needs to change and not be that. But yeah, so I mean, it's not laziness. It's not, oh, I'm doing better things. It's not just, oh, I'm just doing my Farmer Nikki stuff here. It's not just that. It's hard. And I'm doing it by myself. I don't have a parent or two that is already there or is already in the industry or something like that who can pave the way for me or clear the way for me. I don't have a bunch of well-connected friends or ex-partners or current partners or something like that. I mean, although I am single. But I don't have that kind of extra help and that kind of extra lifeline to help guide and shepherd me through. So I'm just a regular person who's got to do what they need to do in order to survive. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's such an emotional tax to this process, to being a very seasoned professional in my industry and across different mediums. I've had a very storied career. One day I'll be telling you about that. But I've had a very storied career, and there's a huge emotional tax on trying to convince people that I'm worthy of the job that they have available, that I'm worthy of it, that I'm skilled, that I'm qualified enough for it. I've won awards for what I do, for my writing no less, which is something I never thought would have happened. I have 3 awards to my name, another thing I'll have to tell you about when I get around to it. And there's an emotional tax constantly being told, I mean, really mostly by an AI chatbot, that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that no one has even bothered to look at your resume and whatnot. And that's a lot to swallow. That's a lot to that's a lot to swallow. And I know I have to keep going, right? I mean, I don't have any other choice. But so yeah, it still is, you know, a tough time, but I'm here to say that, you know, I still feel good. I feel good right now. And these are the moments that I want to capture and that I want to hold on to as much as possible, because I need to. At the end of the day, I have to. I've got to keep, you know, I've got to take the wins where I can. I got to take the wins where I can. And that's my attitude, that's my outlook, and that's what I have to hold on to. So yes, I will, you know, even though some of you out there, I know I owe you a story or two or several or 5 or whatever, but yes, I am going to repot my olive tree and host another episode of Farmer Nikki's winter gardening class. And I am going to do that. And then I'm going to go do those stories. And then I'm going to go work on my website. And then I'm going to go work on my travel series. Because that's what I want to do. And that's all I can do in the midst of everything still not being perfect. But it's not just staying the same. You know, I'm not the kind of person that, oh, I'm just going to sit here and everything's just going to stay the same and I'm miserable. I'm a doer, I'm a go-getter, as my mom always says. So yeah. So in any case, that's all I kind of really wanted to say. And to wrap up, yes, this will be done, this olive tree plant. It's looking good already in there. But then I'm going to put this out to the window, and then hopefully we'll have another day of sunshine. Today was a little overcast, but yeah. And then in the next episode of Farmer Nikki's Winter Gardening Club class, I'm going to talk about my latest I'm so happy about this, my next plant that I got from Trader Joe's. I don't have the money for this, but I bought it anyway. It is a weeping pussy willow tree. I love pussy willow, and that's what we'll be talking about next time on Farmer Nikki's Winter Gardening Club class thing. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, so I still need other jobs. I'm losing light here. I should have done this earlier, but I was applying to a job. Oh my God, this is so heavy. At least one more. I'll be working, 7 days a week probably. I want people who want to see me. Maybe I could push it with 6. I do like handling the dirt. This year's gonna be different. And I'll just keep going.